over to you.
Thank you so much, Alan. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 66th session, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Let's see here. Introductions. This webinar is brought to you at no cost because of our support from the SBA and the State of California Governor's Office, GoBiz. The Small Business Development Center, SBDC, is celebrating 40 years of service. I know some people didn't even know about us probably at the beginning of the year, but there are so many more people that know about us today. And if you tell your friends and family and other business owners about us and our no-cost service, it'll get the word out even more, and we can help even more people. So our Northern California SBDC covers 36 counties, and we have centers that assist all these counties. We can assist with all aspects of your existing or startup business at no cost. I am with the Finance Center, and Scott Rogalski is our director. I am the associate director. We provide services that can help you get loan ready. So from startups to expansions to existing businesses, or if you just want to review your current business plan, we can help you do that. So we're going to get into the presentation. There is something new today in regards to PPP, but let's go through the agenda, and we have our disclaimer as usual. We're going to go over COVID and fire idle parameters. As usual, we'll also go over PPP, some updates. SBA also is going to give us some updates, and they're going to include the fire disaster loan information. We're going to go over upcoming webinars, and today we have a guest speaker. I'm sure you've seen him here probably about a month ago, Pat Wally, and he is part of our team as well for the Finance Center. Then we'll go over the Q&A. And during this session, if there's anything that I can answer while Pat is presenting, I'll go ahead and answer that as well via the Q&A. Disclaimer, things are changing, not as often as before, but yes, they are still changing. The information that I put together this morning is what was available as of this morning and last night. EIDL is still accepting applications for most businesses, including 501c3, 4, and 6s. So if you are still on the fence about applying, I would implore you to go ahead and apply. If you decide once you get that loan that you may not need it at that time, then we can work with you during that and figure out if it's a good loan for you to take at that time or not. But I think that it'd be a great idea if you haven't applied yet to get your application in. So don't hesitate to apply for EIDL. Unfortunately, still at this time, PPP is still closed out. There are no new applications being accepted at this time. Forgiveness has started. People are applying for forgiveness though, and we are going to go over that. So right now I'm going to go over the COVID EIDL loan and also the fire EIDL loan parameters. COVID has a separate application, and fire has a separate application. It is not one and the same. You can find it in the same portal, but they are two different applications. If you need assistance on that, please reach out to us at 833-ASKSBDC, and we can get you hooked up with an advisor right away. So here are the EIDL COVID. I'm sure you've heard this probably hundreds of times now, but just for people that may have forgotten or are new to this today. So 3.75 for all businesses except for nonprofits, and that would be for a 30-year term. Once you're funded, you do not have to start paying. Your payment is deferred for 11 months. So on the 12th month is when you will start to pay your payment and interest payments. Interest does accrue though from the time that you receive that funding. So if you decide that you are able to start paying it off sooner than later, then we can assist you with connecting with servicing. There could possibly require collateral or personal guarantee, and here are the parameters for that. collateral over 25K, and personal guarantee for loans over 200,000. Forgivable, it is not forgivable. Allowed to spend money on all operating costs, expenses, interest, debt payments. It's not for expansion or paying off full amount of loans or tax liens. It's your day-to-day expenses that you would normally use previous to COVID. Idle fire is a little bit different. Your rate is going to be 3% for profits, and for nonprofits, it is still 2.75. And the term is up to 30 years. It really is dependent on what type of loan that you get or what it's for. And we can work through all that, those parameters with you. Your payment deferral is 6 months rather than 11 months. And collateral is over 25K. And then if you have interest in the business, anybody with 20% or more interest in the business also has to guarantee the loan. It is also not forgivable. You can use the money on working capital to cover all ordinary business and operating expenses. Unfortunately, you cannot use it for expansion, refi of long-term debt or loans. PPP application, what is required? Here is a document, and the reason why we're linking it is because in case there are any changes, you will get the most up-to-date information with this link. What you will need for the application is you will need page 3. So you have to complete page 3 of the loan application. You also have to complete Schedule A, page 4 of the loan application before you can even start on page 1. It's kind of like your tax forms. You have to do the schedules first to figure out what is needed, and then you can fill out the application in full. Exciting news. I know this is something we weren't sure if it was going to happen or not, but there is a new application which just came out, I believe on the 13th, or it came out this week or the end of last week. Sorry, I can't, my days are all starting to, go into the other. So I apologize, I don't know the exact date on that, but the new PPP application, it is a 3508S. S, I'm assuming, is for simplified. So new application for loans of 50,000 and under. I know we're looking for something at 150,000, but at this point in time, it's 50,000 and under. It is a simplified process. You provide the business information and certify funds were used appropriately. So it's just a checkbox. You have to initial next to it saying that you use you use the money appropriately. There's probably about 10 questions at this point in time on that application. I reviewed it. It looks very user-friendly. You need to have the loan number. You need to have your business information. So it's pretty much the same information that you use when you applied. Of course, we can help and walk you through this as well. So now there are 3 applications. So this one is the most simple at this point in time. There may or may not be additional ones coming down the line, but at this point in time, we don't know, but we do have the 50,000, which is really exciting. It's exciting for me because we have been waiting on this for quite a while.
I've just thrown the links to the application, the instructions, and also the interim final rule into the chat, so people can download that and play with it as soon as they finish with this webinar.
Perfect. And then another interim rule that just came about is in regards to the 10 months or 6 months regarding when you have to apply. I believe somebody last week asked or stated that their lender reached out to them and stated that they need to apply for forgiveness that week because they are on their 6th week. SBA has sent out a new FAQ stating that everyone gets 10 months now from the date of funding. So that's everyone. So now the lenders, this is an FAQ that went out to all lenders. So please know that you have 10 months to apply for forgiveness since the date of your funding. So 10 months. So if you still have questions on that, the lenders didn't know early last week. So now they know. So now that's going to be probably part of their process. So everyone knows now the FAQs are out. Also, there is a date on an application that states that it ends in October, but it actually is going to be pushed out to December. And I believe Carrie's going to talk about that as well, because that's something new that came out yesterday. So here we go, SBA support. Here is SBA disaster contact information. People are still asking for it. They still need it. People are still wanting to get reconsidered. Maybe they decided that previously they got the loan, they didn't want the loan anymore, but now they need the loan. We would go to pdcrecons@sba.gov. So we need to get reconsidered. We can absolutely help you with that. Please reach out to us at any time, 833-ASK-SBDC. And today we have Carrie Ellenwood on the call with us from SBA, and she is the Deputy District Director of the Sacramento office. So Carrie, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Sanuda. I appreciate that. Yes, so I'm going to start with the easy stuff, relatively speaking, and that is on the fire disaster loans. If you are affected by one of those fires, for the physical damage, you have until October 21st. And so that notice, I believe we shared on the last meeting, you have until October 21st for physical damage. And then the economic injury disaster loans, you have until May 24th of 2021. And as Sunita mentioned, there's a different link on SBA.gov for this loan application versus the EIDL economic injury disaster loan for COVID-19. So two different places on our website, right front and center on the front page, you'll be able to find those. Another difference is where the fire loans are, you have different loan types than our COVID loans. The home loans, where you have no credit elsewhere, the rate on those is 1.188%. If you have credit elsewhere, then it's 2.375%. SBA will be looking at your credit, and there will be collateral loans over $25,000. For the business loans, those would be no credit elsewhere at 3% and credit elsewhere at 6%. For nonprofit organizations, the same as the other economic injury disaster loan, it's 2.75%. And for business and small agricultural cooperatives, either credit elsewhere or no credit elsewhere, it's 3%. And this is on the economic injury disaster loans. For nonprofits, again, 2.75. The law authorizes these loan terms up to 30 years. However, laws may restrict the business with credit available elsewhere up to 7-year term. And SBA will set those installment payments and corresponding maturity based upon each borrower. So make sure you get your loan application in early and as soon as you can for those. And there is a resource there in addition to the 800 number. If you go on SBA.gov, you'll be able to reach out to directly a different number for those disaster contacts that can come and assist you with the fires. The other thing that Sunita mentioned was, yes, we did get a ruling that on $50,000 or less, the Paycheck Protection loans would have the forgiveness with the EZ form. I encourage all of you to go to your lender and the SBDC Finance Center. They're all ready and waiting with sharpened pencils to help you get those forms together. SBA has started processing these Paycheck Protection loan forgiveness requests. And again, just as a reminder, the lender has 60 days to review anything. Once they do that, they'll input it into the SBA organization portal for lenders. And then we have up to 90 days to review that. When this is those loans that are not the $50,000 or less. Those go through the easy loan process, and it shouldn't take that long for those to be taken care of. In addition to these disaster-related things, I just would like to share that today, if you are interested in this Hispanic the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for California is having a webinar for the next couple of days. And there's a lot of good information on that webinar. You can find information at sba.gov/ca/Sacramento on our website calendar. And also on the 20th, the California Black Chamber of Commerce is also having another webinar where we will have 4 of our district directors here in California participating, helping you with information on how to recover from a disaster, how to assist you during difficult times. And Heather Lutzi is going to be featured today on the Hispanic Chamber event. So I encourage you to go there. And what I will do, Alan, is put those links in your chat box for you. And that's what I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, we're going to go over our upcoming webinars for our region, and Alan is going to tell us a little bit about that.
So this hasn't changed much from last week. In fact, we've had a couple of them which actually happened at the beginning of last week, and they've gone, so you've missed them. But we have recordings of those available, and very soon we'll be launching a portal that will share, give everyone a chance to look at all our recorded webinars. So that's something coming. We'll put an announcement out on that, and we'll share it in here as well. We do have a whole bunch of stuff that our different centers are doing. So I would very much encourage you to go to that HTTPS SBDC Events Network calendar, and that takes you to the calendar which has got all the events for all the different centers we have. And because they're all local, they're pretty much all webinars now. It really doesn't matter where you're from. Anyone can register to any of these. So yeah, I'm seeing stuff in, business basics on legal and financial, stuff on QuickBooks. There's like everything you could possibly want to see is being done somewhere by one of our centers. So please take a minute to have a look at that and see what you can learn and get from our wonderful centers who are doing a whole bunch of great webinars over the next month or so.
Thank you, Alan. So our Wednesday webinars, we have them through this month. I believe we are going to continue until next month, but we will keep you informed. So next Wednesday, we have CASE, the Attorney Coalition. They will be here. So if you have any COVID questions, related questions, legal questions, you can ask them there, and they will try and answer as many questions as possible. Please start thinking about your questions and get them ready. We expect to get more questions, but sometimes we don't. So this is a great opportunity for you small businesses and even advisors to get some questions answered that we as advisors normally cannot answer ourselves. And then on Wednesday, October 28th, we are going to do updates again. I am trying to get a presenter on there as well. I'm trying to finalize that, and as soon as I do, we will let you know next Wednesday. But I believe it's going to be in regards to grant opportunities, but I just need to nail that down, and then I will let you know for sure next week. So thank you. So now we're going to go on to our guest presenter, our guest speaker, Pat. He works with the Finance Center. He does a great job. Everyone loves him and loves to work with him. So our next guest is a U.S. Navy veteran and a national trainer. He has traveled the country for nearly 30 years, training businesses and employees. He is a talented credit improvement specialist, and we're so glad that he joined our team during COVID, right before that, and has decided that he is going to stay on our team. So we're very excited about that, and has helped so many people improve their credit profiles and learn how to win the credit game. So Pat, I am going to let you take it from here. I am going to stop sharing and you can go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so thank you for that wonderful introduction. All you 87 people out there, business owners, bless you for doing this through a COVID world. It's been crazy. My business has been growing as far as, having to deal with people with credit issues, because all of a sudden that's a spotlight, right? We didn't know we were going to need loans, and our credits being checked. If you're managing your credit, and you have no credit issues at all, I want you to stick around because there's some really good information at the end that you may not know about. If you are having some credit issues, number one thing I see is businesses are running their business on their personal credit card, and their credit cards are maxed now because income's been a little bit slower for some businesses. And now the credit scores are low. So when they go to apply for a loan, your credit score doesn't support lending. And like Sunita had talked about earlier, we want to make sure that we make you loan ready so that when you do apply for the loan, if that's the route you want to go, you want to get lending, you get a good chance, a good feel that you're going to get a better chance for approval. If you go into a loan like, I don't know if I qualify, that's not a good place to be, okay? So we want you to be able to walk into those loan situations confident that your credit's not going to hold you back. That's what I'm here for. So we're dealing with credit in a COVID world. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna let's see. Can I see my screen okay? There we go. So we already talked about that. I was in the Navy. I was an instructor in the Navy. I accelerated. I had a lot of good things happen. I got out and I started teaching people businesses around the country. And one of the things that I ran into a lot were that most businesses that were, especially the sole proprietors, okay, not picking on sole proprietors, but especially the sole proprietors, they really were, they had to do everything, and the accounting and the bookkeeping and credit was kind of a secondary. They had CPAs to do the taxes, but as far as shoring up leaks in their finances and accounting, that was a very common thing that they didn't know where all their money was going. If that's you, I know that we have some classes, and I highly encourage you that that's the first step you want to take. If you're struggling with credit or you're struggling with your finances right now, find out where all of your money is going. You'd be surprised, those little $20 a month things or the fees or the charges that your money is leaking out of your account can make a huge difference in your overall picture. So I'm just going to say that as a blanket statement that if that's you, which, and I only say it because I get it every single day. I'm talking to somebody that is them, and that's a business, and they may be a successful business, but there's always ways to find some money. Your business needs access to capital, and credit plays a big part of that. Good credit, higher scores, open doors. Doesn't mean you're going to get a loan approved, but you got a much better chance walking in with a 750 or an 800 credit score than if you walked in with a 620 credit score. So what we want to do is show you some tips and tricks on how to raise your credit score quickly. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. That was the last webinar. I think we might have some access to that. Ping Alan if you have any questions on that.
I'll throw a link into the recording of your full hour on this into the chat.
Yeah, because I mean, even Alan said, "Wow, I learned some stuff in that one." It was.
Oh yeah, I used it.
I poured it out. I left it all on the field, as they say.
Yeah.
So you can check your credit report. There may be errors lowering your score. Checking your own credit report does not hurt your score. That's a very common misconception. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. They are offering, it says annual, but they're offering free credit reports, 3-bureau credit report, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, for free once a week and through April. So I highly recommend you go take advantage of that. And I'll tell you why. I worked with a gentleman one time, and his score was low. He wanted to finance to get a building. And we looked through his credit report, and everything was green. Now, in credit reporting world, green is good. So we're looking through green, 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 green. Got to the very bottom, there was an $87 collection from AT&T. 87 bucks, 100-point ding on his credit score. Do you think he was excited that we found that and helped him get that corrected? Yeah, $87. So he didn't even know that was there. So that's why it's really important to go get your annualcreditreport.com. If you find something on there that's messed up, you can dispute online or by a letter. There's a process to do that, and I can help you with that. There may be red flags for ID theft. It's huge right now. It's literally spiking up like this. Identity theft, because more people are online. A lot of computers aren't as secure as they need to be, and we're getting used to putting our credit card information online. Everything's paid online. So you want to make sure that you take steps to, one, find out if there's any errors on your report so that you can identify that. And if you do see something, ftc.gov has some great stuff on identity theft. I highly recommend you go over and take a look at that. Great steps for that. And then number 2, check your credit score. The report gathers the data to create the score. So you can go really quickly to Experian.com. It's free. You can check your Experian FICO score. That's the most common score. They have paid services as well for all 3 bureaus. There's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And that's where you can get your FICO score. Now, these are for-profit companies. So every road leads to a way to purchase something with them. So always be aware and strategic about what you're doing. But there is free services through Experian.com. Experian.com. I use their paid service because it offers some great tools to monitor my credit. It keeps my social security number monitored, so that if anybody uses it except me, I get an alert. Also checks the dark web to make sure that my accounts, my email accounts and stuff are covered. So that's one of the places I use. There's some other ones that you can look at. I put them on here. Some of the banking apps, like Bank of America offers a TransUnion FICO score on their mobile app. So check with your lenders, see if they have something along the lines of that you can check your score. Now, a lot of clients ask me, well, my Credit Karma score says this, but when I got my loan, they said my credit score was different. So Credit Karma is a free service, and that's what they call a Vantage 3 score, which is a little bit different. Now, guess who owns that company? It's Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. So it's just another way to check your score, but it's not the FICO score. FICO is where most lenders, I would say up to 90-95% of the lenders, check your FICO score. So that's that. 650 and higher, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You definitely want to get your scores up as high as possible. How is the score calculated? Well, as you can see, 35% is payment history and 30% is capacity and amount owed. So 65% of your score is determined by 2 factors. And you can look all over the internet and you're going to find the same answers. Well, how do I manage my credit? Pay your bills on time and don't max out your cards. That rule never changes, okay? So now I say that, but you're like, but Pat, I've got a business. I'm not bringing in as much money. We've had to kind of live on our credit cards. And I mean, I've not talked to a business yet that's excited about doing that, okay? It's a painful thing. It's just survival. We're entrepreneurs. We find a way, right? So, you know, the capacity and amount owed, you can actually take care of. There's some ways to do that. But definitely payment history, you can work with the lenders and see if they can give you a deferral. That time has kind of gone past, but there are some lenders that if you're behind the 8 ball and you're hurting, just ask them, hey, can we defer my payments for 6 months? And a lot of lenders are still working on that. Or, you know, can we work out something where I don't have to pay the whole balance every single month? They can't report that to your credit report. Definitely check with that. If you have any questions, get with us and we can help out with that. The capacity amount owed. So I'm going to talk real quickly. How can I raise my score quickly? Because many of you out there, you kind of know what your score is, you know what your situation, but I need to raise it so I can get the loan. Authorized user is the #1 easiest, fast way to raise your score. I'll give you a personal situation. I came in with in 2010 with an okay credit score. I married my wife, so I married up. And she had a credit card that she'd had since 1986, right, with the credit union. And so I became an authorized user on that. And now my credit profile reflected that. And my score jumped up 30 points like the next month. And I didn't do anything. I don't even know where the card is. But I was added to her account as an authorized user and my score jumped up very, very quickly. So that's one easy way to do that. Another way is to make sure you don't apply for any new credit. I cannot stress that enough. You want to be very strategic in managing and updating your scoring and your credit report. Don't go out and just apply for new credit. Every time you apply for new credit or you get a credit pull, a hard pull, they call it, that lowers your credit score and it looks bad. Those stay on your report for 2 years, by the way. So don't go out and get new credit. Also, take care of this 65%. 65% is over half of your score. So how can we do this? Make your payment history. Those stay on your record for 7 years. Sometimes you can get the lenders to remove them. So another situation I run up against is, hey, I fell behind on this. It's reporting as late payments. Can I get this off my score? Some lenders you can actually call up and negotiate. If I pay my balance off completely, will you remove these late payments if it's recent? And sometimes if you negotiate well, they will take that off of your report. That's huge. That's a huge one. The lenders want to see that they're going to get paid, right? So if you're late or delinquent, you're a risk. And then capacity amount owed. You want to keep your balances below 30%. The last webinar, I went into this in great detail. There was some cool slides. I highly recommend checking that out. If you're not sure, set up an appointment and we can go over how to do that. That's a huge one right there. This is what you can move the needle. I've seen 50-point changes in credit reports scores just from changing this one thing right here. And lenders want to see, are you maxing out your credit cards? How are you managing your debt? Okay. So that's that. Now, since COVID, credit's changed. Lending has changed. In my first spare time, I just go to the Federal Reserve website and just peruse, right? Because everybody does, right? That's what we all do, is just go hang out at the Federal Reserve site and read that great government stuff. So I know it's dry, right? It's like a root canal. Hey, let's go get a root canal today. Since COVID, this is a statement from them, and I'm not sure how to get rid of. There we go. So lending standards have changed. Okay, they've changed across all loan categories and currently at the tighter end of the range between 2005 and present. What does that mean? That means that the lending is almost as tough since 2005. It's getting tougher. Okay, you got to be. It's a lender's market. I mean, they can pick and choose because a lot of people are risk right now. So you want to go in as a business. You want to present yourself as the least amount of risk of anybody that they've seen today, and get that loan if that's what you need. And if this is the case where it's tougher to get the lending, now what? What do you do? Well, you get your personal credit report first. Get that, protect your score. Get your personal side handled. Okay, get that score up and get your debt. If you got to borrow money from a family member, if the goal is to be strategic and get a loan, okay, sometimes it's easier to borrow money from a family member or use some of your savings and get that debt that you're paying interest on gone. Take the high interest debt and get it into low interest debt if possible. There's many different theories and you can do an avalanche or snowball. Dave Ramsey has some good stuff. There's a lot of ways to do that. Again, if this is you, and I mean, again, nobody wants to raise their hand and go, hey, that's me. I need help. I'm the bad credit person. Just contact us, okay? I work with people every single day on this, and it's just the way it is. Make a blueprint for your recovery. I cannot stress this next statement. Update your business plan. I can't stress that enough. Update your business plan. If you don't have a business plan, get a business plan. If you haven't updated your business plan in 2 years, update your business plan. This is probably the #1 tool that lenders can use. And if you're a lender, you can confirm this. This is how they know who you are. This is your business, right? I mean, there's the reports and there's the scores, but if I'm lending you money, I want to know, am I going to be able to get the money back? Are you a risk? And if I see a good business plan that makes sense and that shows market research, it shows the budgeting, it shows all the pieces of a good business plan, and it shows profit down the road and growth, I'm going to be more inclined to lend you money because this is a profile of your character as a business. So that's huge, huge, huge. SBDC offers programs to help you build and update your business plan. I highly recommend taking advantage of that. And then this is what I asked you to stick around. If you're in good shape with personal credit, then you might want to start exercising some business credit. Business credit is going to be the way to go, I believe, because personal credit, consumer credit, your personal credit as a business owner is lumped in with all the other 600 million or whatever, 200 billion people in the United States. I don't know, 300 million people in the US that have credit, okay? So you want to make sure that you use every resource at your disposal. And business credit is a resource that is starting to become more and more prevalent. What is that? That's where you have vendor accounts. If you have an entity, an LLC, a corporation, or an S corp, you can get what they call an EIN, and you can actually have credit for your business that's just your business. It doesn't use a lot of personal guarantee. It's just another arrow in the quiver of the lending game so that you can get the money you need to grow your business. There's some great resources. I think Alan will provide some of those links. You want to make sure that all of your info is consistent on the Secretary of State website. Lenders can go check your business information on the Secretary of State website. If it doesn't match what's on your application, I promise you that's a red flag. Wait a minute, why doesn't this match? You're going into pile B. We'll deal with that when we get a chance. So you want to make sure all of your information is consistent across all sources. IRS, you can go into IRS and actually, can you see this website?
We're not seeing anything other than the presentation.
Okay, so this website right here, the businesssearch.sos.california.gov, go look up your business. If you're an LLC or an S corp or a corporation, and you will find your business information. That's what's on file. If it's wrong, correct it. There's a way to do that. If it's correct, then make sure you go to the IRS government website and make sure that you have the 8822B to make sure that all your business information is correct with the IRS. Go to Dun & Bradstreet. I just got off the phone with a client that had a business LLC, and they went, our Dun & Bradstreet number is reporting information from an employee of ours. How do you think that looks for a lender, right? Real quick, took her there. Oh, wow. And then we were able to correct that. So Dun & Bradstreet, there's a company called NAV, N-A-V. Again, all roads lead to a way to buy things, right? So they're a for-profit company too, but they've got some fantastic resources for updating and managing and monitoring your business credit. They're starting to meld together as a business. Your business and personal intertwine. So it's really important that you make every effort to make it match. And then the next steps, you want to obtain a copy of your credit report, annualcreditreport.com, check your score, update or create a business plan. Again, I cannot stress that enough. Scott Rogalski, when I met him, he was at a panel discussion in Vacaville, and I asked him straight up, how important is a credit score? He goes, that's a good way to get in the door, but he goes, the number one thing is a good business plan. And that was from the mouth of the giant right there. Okay. Register with the Finance Center, your local SBDC. Those are some links. We're going to open it for Q&A. I think at this point, we're going to stop sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, so do you want me to triage Pat's questions, Sunita?
Sure.
Okay then, Pat. So Natalia had a question, which was, will it hurt the credit card holder in terms of their FICO score if you add an authorized user will be added to the credit card? So did your wife's credit score get damaged by you being added to it?
That is a fantastic question. No, it goes one direction only. Here's the caveat on that. If you become an authorized user on somebody's account, make sure it's somebody that has outstanding credit, better than yours. Because if their credit starts having problems, your credit will start having problems. But if I don't ever use that account, I'm just getting the numbers off of it. If my score drops, it does not affect that other person, the other end, not at all.
Now, of course, if you start spending a whole bunch of money, then that changes the available balance. That changes everybody's score. Okay.
I don't even know where that card is. I don't want to know where that card is. I don't use it. I just get her information reported on my credit report.
So Nick said he thought that he'd heard that merely checking his credit score on Experian will lower their credit score. That's not right, is it?
That's a good question, Nick. And actually, that's a very common question because we're afraid, right? I mean, you check your score, it dings. That's what we're drilled into. We can check our own score. Consumers can check your own credit score. It's protected by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I can go look 5 times a day if I want to, as long as I'm checking my own score. It does not lower your score. It doesn't affect it at all.
Okay. And that's really the difference between a hard pull and a soft pull as well, isn't it? It's if you're applying for credit, that's a hard pull.
That's a hard pull. That's right.
Yeah.
There, you're authorizing, and it has to be a wet signature.
Yeah.
Okay, you're authorizing somebody else to go pull your credit report.
Yeah. Whereas if you ever get those offers saying you've been pre-approved, that's a soft pull. That they looked at your credit, but it didn't ding your credit, but they offered it to you. And if you take up their offer and they actually apply, that will ding your credit.
That's right. So again, you got to be very strategic about that. Remember, they're always wanting you to sign the dotted line, right? So you always want to be careful.
Yeah, you can tell I've been on a couple of Pat's webinars before. Okay, so Ron had a question. He said, my Wayfair credit account has been closed due to their change of banks from Community and Chase Bank. How will this affect my credit? And if so, how can I fix it?
Sure. So when an account closes, that is no longer reporting to your credit report. If it's an old account, it will lower your score. I had child support. I mean, just the reality, right? I was paying on time. When I paid that last payment and my account closed, my 12-year account, my score dropped because it no longer was reported to my credit report. There's nothing you can do about that. It's just the way that game is played. If an account, that's why you don't really want to close good standing accounts, because you want to build up that time of reporting on-time payments with an account. If they closed it, but you can't really do anything about that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So if you, one tip I think you mentioned on one of the previous ones, if you have like these credit cards that you've had for a long time that you don't use, like maybe a spare card, it's probably worth every so often just putting like $5 going and spending, buying a pint of milk with it and then paying it off. Just
Sure.
to keep it there.
Go to the gas station, pump a tank of gas through it, and let it ride for a month. Because now, again, lenders are tightening up, so they're going to look for accounts that aren't doing anything and get rid of them. Because that's, in the end, okay, lenders want to make money too. So if and I'm not bashing lenders, but this is just the way it works. If your scores are low, they're going to be able to charge more interest. How do they make money? Interest. So if they're closing accounts, your score goes down, they're going to get more interest from you.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's a rough game.
Rhonda had a question, which is, if I have an LLC, could my husband add me as an authorized user if his credit card to increase my credit score for the LLC?
Great question. It does not. So a business does not report to personal FICO. So
Okay.
what we talk about authorized user, that's all consumer or personal credit. A business, I've got a business LLC. I walk into the bank and I open a business account and I apply for a credit card, but I put my personal social security number on there. So they do a credit pull, but it doesn't report to my personal credit. That's what LLCs, that's typically the situation that people are in. It's not a personal credit card, it's a business credit card, but it does not report to the FICO. All you're doing by signing with the social security number is you're guaranteeing that if anything happens, a default, they can come after your personal assets. And I want to say something, Alan. I say lenders, I will say this. The SBA is the best lender on the anywhere right now. That EIDL loan, you can't beat that. The PPP, you can't beat that anywhere. I mean, am I wrong, Sunita? You've seen this for a long time. You've been in banking for years. This is unheard of. To sole proprietors, it doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah,
You're correct, unless you take a second out on your home.
Right.
This is the least, definitely one of the least expensive, and for 30 years as well. So
if you're on the fence, get off the fence and get that EIDL loan.
apply. It doesn't hurt to apply. It definitely does not hurt to apply.
And that brings up it does show up on your credit report, but there was a federal rule passed in the CARES Act that it does not affect your credit score.
Okay.
Good to know. Thank you, Pat. I did have a question early on, sorry, in regards to the new form, the 50 and under and FTEs. I reviewed the form again. I did not see anywhere that it was asking in regarding the FTE. I will look closer and give you more information next week, but from what I reviewed, I did not see on one of the questions them asking about FTE. They did ask about the compensation and how you calculated it and what documents you have that you're submitting to the lender, but I did not see an FTE question, but I will review again. Right now, since I'm showing my screen, I'm kind of locked out of looking at anything else. So I will get back to you guys next Wednesday for sure.
I don't think there was. I reviewed that too, Sunita. I didn't see
Okay.
anything as well.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of on your honor that we spent it right. That's
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct, Sunita. I don't see an FTE on that either.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. It is still
You're
on the long form though, and the other form. That question is still that you still need to answer the question on the long form and the other form, but not this one.
Okay. So there's Margaret's was asking about using things like Experian Boost. What are your thoughts on using it to boost to generate a higher credit score?
I'm not allowed to have personal thoughts as a contractor. Sorry. No, I can. Sorry. Hey, you got to have humor in this game because this is tough. Okay. When I get done at the end of my day, I am wiped out because I'm emotionally involved in what y'all are doing in business. So that's a great, great question. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others. Here's the deal with what they did. They said, okay, go ahead and do this Experian Boost. It's free for now. Kind of like a trial period. You give them access to your bank account and they track things like cell phone payments, rent, the things that aren't normally counted towards your credit. And it does work. It does increase your credit score if you're paying on time. Again, everything's caveated with you paying on time, right? However, when the honeymoon is over, when that free period's over, they start offering you to charge. I think it's $12.99 a month. And if you decline that, guess what happens to your score? They pull the rug out and your score drops again. So again, be strategic. If that works for you, if you're at that cusp where you've got to get your score up about 20, 30 points, that might be an option for you. I personally don't want Experian in my bank account that deep. That's just me. I've found other ways to get my score up, more lasting ways, more organic ways. That's kind of a pay to play kind of gig. But it works. You know, that's up to you how you want to do that.
And I'm gonna give a little bit of a shout out to Pat. I was watching his webinar recently about the full webinar on this, and I made a small payment additional to my credit card. So I normally pay it all off at the end of the on the due date, but I use it a lot. So the amount of credit I've got within it was quite high. And I made a small initial payment to drop that down to under 30% on the day before the reporting happened. I just see my credit score went up by 9 points. That one thing. So no change to amount I'm paying, just a little tweak on the timing of it. And I saw a 9-point score shift. So,
and that can make a difference. That can, you know, if you're at 7, 8, 10, and you get 9 points, you're now at 719, 720. There's thresholds that the lenders look at for milestones, and that's one of them is a 720.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Good job, Alan.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I meant to send you an email to thank you for that wonderful tip, but I thought I'd do it publicly here instead.
Well, we didn't cover it here,
yeah.
But that is something I discovered. My wife is an auditor, been an auditor for 25 years, and she said, "There's no way that works." And I went, "Oh, let's try it out." And I did it, and it worked over and over again. Started having other people do it. So son of a gun, you know, because my wife loves to tell me I'm right. All wives do, right? And I got it on recording somewhere.
Yeah. Always worth doing.
Right.
I actually followed exactly what you said, which is I went to free credit report, annualcreditreport.com, got my credit report, looked at the day that credit card reported, and made that payment the day before, and 9 points.
The next month, the very next month, right?
Very next month.
Yeah.
So it definitely works. We have a question in queue regarding from Steve that's saying, can you please explain PPP Safe Harbor? Is there a formula? There sure is, Steve, but it's very extensive. It's not that, you know, there are a few questions that you have to answer, and it is on the application, and then you'll know if you qualify for the Safe Harbor or not. We can walk you through that, but it is a lot of questions, and it's personally or regarding your business, how many employees you had at the beginning, Did some employees not come back? Do you have documentation of that? You know, what percentage? So it is pretty extensive. Unfortunately, it's not a simple and easy formula that I could just give you at this point in time. But if you want to reach out to us, we can assist you with that because we'll need a lot of your personal business information. Any more questions today? We are here for another, let's see, 5 minutes, looks like. Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. So FTE on PPP loan forgiveness, easy form over 50K. It asks for employees at time of forgiveness app. What happens if I had restored FTEs during a covered period, but I need to reduce it? Does this mean I must submit PPP application before FTE reduction? I would. So if you need to, we can go more into this, Jesse. We need to know if possibly you fall into any of the safe harbor, you know, safe harbor requisites or anything like that. You know, we'll go through that with you, but these are difficult to answer on these webinars because we need your business information. You know, we also need to know, is your type of business one of the businesses that was heavily affected by the COVID closures? So that also goes into effect if you are part of Safe Harbor or not, or if you need to have all FTEs. Or if you can have a reduction. Did your employees not come back? Did you offer them a job? Did you offer other people their jobs? You know, there's a lot that goes into play, Jesse. So please give us a call at 833-ASK-SBDC, and one of the advisors, it may even be Pat, could help you through that. So appreciate it. Rhonda, can you guys repeat the last tip that Pat gave about the credit card payment?
Oh, the when to pay, you mean? Right. So that I covered that extensively in the hour-long. I will certainly tell you. And I have a spreadsheet that helps you do that. I don't, if Alan, if you still have that, if you want to make that available. This is a mailing list, right, that we have?
I can find it and put it in the chat. So
yeah, so basically, if you look at your credit report, you will see on there the date reported or the date updated. And that is when the creditors report it to Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. So we'll just say Bank of America card reports it to Experian on the 18th of the month. I'll tell you how I found this out. So credit union, I was paying my bill off on the 1st, and then I was using my card and I paid it off on the 1st. And my score kept going down. I'm like, what the heck? So they actually report it on the 18th. So by the 18th of the month, my card was maxed out. It was a $500 card. So my card was pretty much maxed out. So it kept showing when they reported it to the credit bureaus that my card was maxed out. So I just changed I made my minimum payment when it was due. And then I paid the bulk of my payment just before it reported. So I started my payments on the 16th. So when it reports to the credit bureaus, it's showing the lowest use. Remember, that's 30% of your score, right? So if it shows the lowest use, that makes you look like you're managing your credit better. And my score went up 30 points in 1 month. So you make your regular payment, and then if you can, make a bigger payment as about 2 days before it reports to the credit bureaus. A lot of banks and financial institutions will have that as the closing date on the credit card statement. It works with credit cards and lines of credit. So pay it a couple days before it shows up on your credit report, and your score, if you carry a balance every month, your score will go up if everything else stays the same. And that's what Alan did. He made his regular payment, and then he paid like I normally pay, say $500 at the beginning of the month. Well, I paid my minimum payment, and then I paid the rest of that $500 just before it reported.
Yeah.
And then
I'm in a lucky position. We're able to pay off our credit card fully every month, which is
right.
great. But even doing that, I still have, by the time the reporting happened, it was kind of on the way up again because we've been using it a lot. So by paying it off, by making that additional payment just before, instead of, in fact, paying it a little early. So instead of paying it off on the due date, I'm paying it off a few days before, which is the day before the reporting date. And
And it's not paying anymore. You're paying the same payments. You're just changing when you want to pay. If you have questions about that, you want to talk to us about it, I'd be more than happy. I covered it extensively in that webinar, and there's even a spreadsheet and a graphic in there that explains that.
yeah, I can't
It's a
get hold
great
of the
question.
I can't find the spreadsheet easily,
I'll
but
get
if
it to
people
you.
want it, they should reach out to the best way to get it is reach out to the finance center, and they'll get it with you, get it for them. And if not, reach out to me. I'll put my email in chat and I'll send it to you.
I think I'm
Perfect.
getting all the credit referrals, right, Sunita?
Most likely you
Yeah.
are. But really quick question from David. He's an advisor, Bocash. He's stating that the news outlets and accountants are advising people to wait on PPP forgiveness. And what's our stance or SBA's stance on that? And David, like we always say, it is up to the client if they want to apply for forgiveness or not. We are not stopping them from that because SBA is they're going through these applications. If the client wants to wait and see if there is any legislation in regards to the 150 or under or anything to that, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So it's a roll of the dice for the clients at this point in time. And I wish we had more information to say yes, no, or maybe so, but unfortunately we don't. And I don't know if Carrie, if you want to, right before we leave, if you have anything to interject in that or not.
Yes, thank you, Sunita. And I want to absolutely agree with what Sunita said. It's always the business's choice. And my comment is in regard to the fact that we are accepting those applications now from the lenders, and that the small business needs to make a decision. Is this the time for me to do that, or do I want to wait and see if something else comes up? But I concur with what Sunita is giving you in terms of that advice for you to share with a small business. It's always their decision. And I do think as a resource partner, it's good to be available for them to assist them and get the paperwork ready. And if they want to file it, they can file it. If they want to hang on and see what happens, they can do that as well. Thanks,
Perfect.
Anita.
Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. And Steve says, thank you very much. Great presentation today. With that, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Carrie Ellenwood with the SBA. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Alan. And we will see you next Wednesday. Please join us with Case and our attorney coalition. We appreciate your time. We'll see you.
Thanks, everybody. Keep safe.
Thank you.